Welcome everybody to our Sixfive Fusion Soundscape training webinar. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Mark Garrett with 21st Century Distributing, and we're excited to have you guys here to cover landscape lighting and audio solutions from Sixfive. I guess when I say that, I mean Sixfive has a patented landscape speaker lighting technology that everybody out there can now offer to your clients. Training us today on this category is Nick Lamonaco, who is the president of Sixfive. We also have Ed here, who is our rep for Sixfive, so appreciate you guys being here. If you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat, and I'll get those answered for you at the end of the training session. Always, as a reminder, this training session and all of our webinars that 21st Century puts on is being recorded and will be available to you or one of your teammates in our virtual conference center on our website. So, Nick, thanks for being here, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, and thank you, everybody, for joining today to learn a little bit about it. So I'm Nick Lamonaco, President Sixfive, and so I'll get you a little bit, let you know about the brand briefly, and then get into the product and hopefully answer any questions that you have at the end. So we'll get rolling. Okay, so just brief who we are. So we started, we're a division of Memphis Audio on the car side. So we've been in audio since 1965. The name Sixfive is the connection that to our audio history. We started audio in 4 tracks in cars in 65, and Sixfive became a line of ours. We turned into our home line. We have crossover distributors across the whole U.S. that sell both our car product and home audio. So that was where we started the discussions. And we had this awesome idea for the Fusion Soundscape and decided that we wanted to dabble into the outdoor and home audio world. And our head of product development has 15 years plus experience designing outdoor and home audio speakers. So it's not like we're just car guys designing home. So what do we offer? We offer ceilings, speakers, and floor subs, and as well as our patented outdoor landscape lighted audio system, which we will be going over today. Great margins, great sounding product. And here is what you get when you use our system with lighting and audio all in one. So let's get right into some of the features and specs. Here is a shot of my backyard, just so you can see what it looks like in a regular small California backyard. I didn't bury the subs yet, but you can see here in dusk how bright the lights will light up your backyard. So you're getting some legit lighting. It's not just an afterthought on the lighting. These are real landscape lights designed to light up your yard. So what this system is, it's a patented one-of-a-kind landscape light and audio system. So it combines elegant landscape lighting with immersive sound. On top of that, it's omnidirectional. So there's definitely omnidirectional speakers out there, but not one like this. And it's designed from anything from background music to a pool party. So honestly, when people see it for the first time, they assume it's just going to be some light ability to do some light background music, but you really can power a whole party with it. It does get loud, and it is compatible with other amplifiers and sources. So our stuff is sold a la carte, and you can mix and match with other brands if you are building off an existing system. So let's start with the amplifier. So this is our LS Amp 250. See, it's 250 watt amplifier, and you can see it comes with the rack ears, so it can be mounted in a rack. And then you see some of the controls, inputs and outputs there, which I'll get into in a second. So this is 125 by 2 at 4 ohms. So this is all the speakers are high impedance, and you wire them down so the amplifier sees a 4 ohm load on each channel. 8 ohms, you'll get 60 watts per channel, and that's again with both channels driven. Analog, optical, and digital coax input and pass through, so you can stack these amplifiers on top of each other to run as many as you would like, and has auto sensing turn on with front gain controls. So 15-minute timer with no signal, it will shut off. And it has some built-in DSP settings, 7 settings, you can switch on the back. Frequency response 10 hertz to 20K. And then you look, there's the dimensions of the amplifier with the feet. So it's 16 inches long, 8 inches, a little 8.5 wide, and a little over 2 inches tall. So not that big of an amplifier. You can fit two in a rack. And then don't need to go too crazy into this, but these are the actual 8 positions for the DSP. So 0 is a straight flat. Position 1 works best if you don't have a sub and you want to get a little bit of bass boost out of the mids. And then position 2 is probably ideal for the system with bass boost. And then there's some other boosts at different frequencies. Again, this is more to work with an existing system if you wanted to get a little extra boost at certain frequencies with the landscape lights. So basically, you're going to use 0, 1, and 2 is going to be the most common when you're kitted up with our amp and sub. So getting into the speakers. So I said everything's sold a la carte. The speakers are always sold in 4 packs. So we have bronze and black. That's what you're seeing here. 4-pack of bronze, 4-pack of black. Comes with pigtail wiring, and then the brackets. Here's a close-up view, couple beauty shots there. So the top of the landscape light, that actually is laser cut. Very precise cut. We tried to stamp it, obviously, because that would be less expensive in the manufacturing process, but it didn't look perfect. So nice laser cut perf on the top of the light. So getting into the features and specs of the landscape lights themselves. These are patented. The patent is in the enclosure and the omnidirectional sound. So with the dome for the light underneath and where the speakers are mounted up top, that creates an enclosure that allows us to get better mid-bass response out of our drivers, as well as making the sound go up and down, almost giving it like almost sounds a little like Dolby Atmos, where it throws the sound up and down. 2700K LED with 3-watt G4 LED bipin bulb. Reason I mentioned that is this is a generic bulb. This is not a proprietary bulb. There are also Wi-Fi bulbs out there that you could swap the bulbs out, so you could have full control. These are obviously come with the white LED, but you could swap it out for complete Wi-Fi bulbs if you wanted to, because it is just a generic bulb pin. Speakers are two 2.5 omnidirectional speakers. Each satellite is 50 RMS. As I mentioned, that the dispersion does go all around, up and down. So whether you've got different elevations, some speakers are below the listening area, some are above, you'll still be able to hear it. Frequency response, these play down to 100 hertz up to 20K, 89 dB sensitivity. And then one thing to keep in mind as well, because we're combining speakers and landscape lights, the landscape lighting portion of it, the brass is not entry level by any means. So this isn't the quality of like an all-in-one lighting kit that someone might buy at Costco. These are commercial grade brass that we've used on the lighting. We wanted to make it outlast the speakers. So not just an entry level system from the lights as well, even though we're an audio company. And then mention the ground stakes are included. So here's an exploded view of the light itself. The brass on the top is perforated. That's just for cosmetic and protect the speaker. And then the speakers are mounted into the top of the enclosure. And if you notice those little notches around the enclosure where the speakers and light are inside, those notches allow water to drain off. So as water would come through the perf on the top, it'll flow over the speakers, drip off, and roll down around those notches in the enclosure. So you don't have to worry about water getting stuck in these or where does it go. It just flows right off the enclosure. We've done these are IPX6 rated. We've done a whole lot of testing for months and months for UV, water, salt, heat. Our head of engineering is based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, so he's had these in his backyard in the snow, and they were fine. Most of where you guys are selling, you're not going to get the same snow as as Green Bay, so I think we'll be all right on the snow factor. And the base is the threading is the common thread, so you can get different parts threaded into the, not just our stake. If you want to mount it on a deck or in different spots, it's the universal thread for lighting. So let's see here. Moving into the subwoofer. So this is a 10-inch sub and polyethylene rotomolded enclosure. So it actually comes completely assembled except for the little mushroom top for the chimney. You just got to screw that on. Everything else is already assembled in the box. Polypropylene and sandoprene subwoofer. So for extensive outdoor use, and so doesn't get eaten by the elements. Burial rated enclosure with the weatherproof port. So the port is designed to keep stuff out. And it has a 200-watt RMS power handling. And as I mentioned before, all of these are interchangeable with other amplifiers and such. None of this is proprietary. The speakers at least will work with other amplifiers. Getting into the transformer. So first thing to mention is our transformer is just a commercial grade 150-watt transformer. This is not a proprietary transformer to our line or with our lights or anything like that. Our lighting is regular low voltage lighting. It will work with any transformer, work with any lighting that you already have set up in the yard. You don't have to use ours whatsoever. But if you want to use ours, it's a really nice transformer. 12 and 15 volts, takes wiring up to 10 gauge. Toroidal core for efficient, cooler, and quieter operation. You can put any control device in it, so you can add a photo cell to it so it turns on when it's dark. You can also add any Wi-Fi switch, so you can use all the control systems. Crestron, Control 4, Amazon all have Wi-Fi plugs that you can put in and control. My house, I just use I can't say it out loud because my things will go off, but an Amazon plug that I use as a timer and can audibly turn it on. Stainless steel with lockable hinged lid, and then has colored wire markings and really easy to use. Very simple, basic transformer. Our lights are dimmable. This transformer is not. This you would have to hardwire it for different brightnesses. But if you have a transformer that is dimmable, our lights will work perfectly fine with that. And you can control that via the system that you are using. And the transformer is ETL listed. So with this being different, where you've got lights and speakers involved, want to talk a little bit about the wiring. It is very similar to other landscape audio systems. The satellites are wired in parallel with one sub of the voice coil. So if you're doing an 8-speaker system, 4 speakers in one side of the sub on the left channel and 4 speakers in the other side of the sub on the right channel. The speakers can be installed with the included ground spikes, or as I mentioned, the 1/2-inch MPS thread, and whatever sort of, if you want to mount it on a deck or somewhere else, you can. And the options to work with the other amps as needed. So getting in, this is what every speaker looks like. So out of the bottom of every satellite, you'll see power and speaker. The power is for the LED, and the speaker is obviously for the speaker. And then out of the sub, you'll see a similar pigtail, but it'll just say left and right speaker because there's no light in the sub. And then looking there at the bottom of the stake, you run the wire through the stake, screw it in, and you're good to go. The feedback on our stakes, they're pretty common stake. You can get, I believe, others aftermarket, not ours, but make thicker ones that you can use if you're worried about using it in more commercial setting. But the stakes have worked really well, and they're pretty well dog tested now in the backyards they've been into, so they should hold up pretty well. The easiest installation is with 16.6. If there's existing landscape lighting, then 16.4 for the speakers. So you'd use 16.4 for the speakers and then 16.2 for the lights if there was something already back there. There's the length that you would want to use for the LED wiring. So up to 150 feet, 16 gauge will work. And then regular low voltage lighting, not proprietary. Our transformer has the power for up to 40 of our lights. So you could use 8 of our lights and a whole lot of other lights if you already have lights back there. But more than likely, if there's already existing landscape lighting, then that transformer most likely has some power left over that you could tap into R8 lights, or even more if you were going to use 16 lights or whatever you wanted. So definitely don't need to use anything specific to our lights at all. So here's a large pulled back view of the wiring. I'll zoom in a little bit to show you how everything wires up. So you see the amp. This is using a 16/6 wire that has those 6 colors: red, black, white, yellow, green, blue. So you make the choice of which colors are which. In this one, we used red and black as our LED wires. So at every satellite, we tapped red and black into that speaker light with waterproof butt connectors, or not butt connectors, sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Wire nuts, sorry, wire nuts. So use the red and black wire nuts to red and black wires wire nutted to each speaker. And then you make the decision of which one's left and right on your other 4. So in this instance, we used green and blue would be left, and white and yellow would be right. So the first speaker, we tapped green and blue for left, the second speaker, white and yellow. And then of course, every light gets the red and black for LED. And then if you look at the sub there, the sub got white and yellow and green and blue for the left and right on the sub. So it's similar to using Sonance is one of the most popular wiring up a Sonance on the speaker side, where you're tapping left and right, and then both left and right for the sub. This just adds the additional LED pair of wires for the 8 satellites. So even though it's new, it is we didn't reinvent the wheel on how to wire it up. So of course, any questions on that, we can help. But once you do it once, it's very intuitive and makes sense. So as I mentioned, being able to wire it up with other products, this is what the load chart looks like when you wire up speakers. So if you were to use 4 speakers and 2 subs and you were to really crank on it, you might get just a little bit of distortion if you're really cranking on it. But 8 speakers and 1 sub, as you see there, it puts each channel down to 3.7 ohm, which dynamically is going to be fine. Over 4, obviously we can crank on that all day. That's the ideal situation for us. And then 16 speakers with no sub, you see the load down there is a little bit below 4, but without the sub in there playing the higher frequencies, you'll have no problem running 16 speakers off one of our amps. And of course, 8 speakers is definitely no problem. One of our most popular pairings with our systems is with Sonos products. So using a Sonos port as the source going into our amplifiers, and then we had one of our distributors, Davis, in the Ohio Valley. They've had some success with customers who are wanting more speakers. So they use 8 speakers in a sub, but they want 12 or 16 speakers. Well, in those instances, they're using a Sonos amp to power 8 speakers, and the output going to one of our amps for a sub, and then another one of our amplifiers to power 8 more speakers in a sub. So just using other amplifiers if you have existing power to tap in for some of the speakers, and then our amplifiers to have a kit for 8 speakers in a sub. And so there's lots of different options because we went with the common high impedance that's being used out there right now. As you see, all the speakers are going to be the same impedance, and make it easy to drop it down to the right level, whether using our amplifier or another amplifier. All right, and then going into the final just notes is our retail pricing. So the top 2 kits, that is just speakers and sub. So 4 speakers and a sub, $19.99. You add 4 speakers, sub, and amp, So that would be turnkey for the audio. It's 2,500, and then just 8 speakers in a sub, 3,300, and the biggest system, 8 speakers, amp and sub, is 3,800, 3,799. And none of these kits include the transformer. We did that because, as I mentioned, there's nothing special about our transformer. It's just a quality low voltage transformer. And we didn't want to lump the kits with a transformer because we're probably a little less than half attached with a transformer, because a lot of consumers have a transformer already for some outdoor lighting, or as an integrator, there's a lot of options for different transformers that you might want a dimmable one. You might use one that swap out the bulbs for Wi-Fi. So we left the kit out, the transformer out of the kit for that reason. Obviously, you can add it on there, no problem. Get it from 21st Century if you want, or use a different transformer. All of them work. And I mentioned the retail pricing at the end, because our goal is in business is to work with the right partners and make sure everyone can make money with our products. So 21st Century is exclusive in their territory with this product. There's nobody else selling it except for 21st Century. So you don't have to worry about any of that craziness. And as you've seen here, there is this is different than anything that's out there right now. There are some people, I think Snap has something, but this is a very different product. This is a product, if you've not had the chance to hear it, I know the demo has been moving around the different 21st Century locations, but it is really, it's cool. It looks cool. It's got an awesome patent on it that makes the sound go everywhere, which I can tell you that all day, but hearing it is really a game changer. I think we're batting 1,000 with everyone that's heard the demo saying, wow, that sounds awesome. So really the proof is in hearing this product. Obviously it's got a lot of cool features. The pricing is good, but the sound is really the game changer. So yeah, I think that was my quick intro to the Landscape product.
It's great, Nick. Thank you so much. Couple questions here. Normal application. What do you see? I know every application is different depending on the size of the yard. But I mean, do you see more eight speakers in a sub, multiple subs in a typical application for 6.5?
I'd say 8 speakers in a sub is the most common. We're 6 to 10 feet, probably 8 feet is like ideal for sound in a backyard. So, you got 8 speakers, you can easily cover 50 feet of range, or if you're doing 4 and 4 along a pathway or something, 8 speakers is going to cover a good distance. Like my yard, I have 8 speakers going all across the whole back side, which easily covers the whole backyard. Granted, I'm in a Southern California tract home, so I don't have the biggest backyard, but 8 speakers can usually cover left to right on an average, backyard application.
Yeah, I know in stock we have the 4-pack of the fixtures, 4 lights, audio lights, and then we have the sub and the amp, and then you can buy an additional 4 speakers a la carte as well. So you can kind of mix and match how you want to set it up. You mentioned the wire run is a 6 conductor as well, so you can run a 16.6, which we also have in stock if you want to run that separate, or you can if you have a 4 conductor, you could add another 2 conductors. Is that how it's normally ran?
Yeah. If somebody already has 2 conductor out there that with some landscape lights that you could easily just tap into wherever you put these out there in between your existing landscape lighting, then 16.4 just to wire up the speakers. And
Okay.
and going back to your last comment too, with the a la carte part, like we've even seen one system where they started with 8 and it wasn't enough, because they had a pool and they wanted people in different areas. So they were able to add on 4 more and then 8, but I think 4 more later, because they had extra power coming off a Sonos amp. So it's really, you can even come back later. Yeah, you have to trench more wire later, but it's not like you're locked in. Once you do 8 speakers in a sub, you could easily come back and add 4, 8, 12 more later.
Yeah, and the last one, you mentioned transformer. I know the kits don't come with the transformer. You could buy those separately, the ones that you make. I mean, is there any advice, recommendation on which transformer they should use for this system?
No, there really isn't like specifically anyone. Like looking at our marketing manager, for example, he has a transformer with a bunch of landscape lighting that had extra power, so he hooked it up. He doesn't need one in his yard. He wouldn't even need a transformer. They, it kind of depends on what the application is. If you want a dimmable one, or you want to be able to have the lights be different brightness at different times of the evening, then find a solid dimmable one. But even Home Depot and Lowe's have some pretty quality, transformers that consumers might already have, so they might not even know it, that you can wire into.
Well, we have the demo kit set up right now. It was up in our Marietta location. It's now in our South Florida or Pompano branch. So if you're in the area, you want to hear it in person, go by and check it out. Talk to Mike and Julio over there. They could help demo it for you. And really appreciate your time, Nick. Again, this is stocked at all of our 21st century locations. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your sales rep. We can get you guys set up with it. But appreciate your time, Nick. Thank you so much for going over this with us.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for your time as well.